So if we could rise and do the Pledge of Allegiance together, please. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Just wanted to welcome everyone this evening. If I, as a reminder, please silence those cell phones. Our meetings are public and recorded, and this is a business meeting, so we ask everyone to conduct themselves in a professional manner. Our city code allows for public comment up to 3 minutes, and for best sound quality, please pull these mics down and speak into them, especially in light of the fact our clerk is not here this evening. So with that, we will kick off the Finance Committee.
Thanks, Mayor. Call the Finance Committee meeting to order at 6:02. Myself, Honabet, Schwarzkopf, and Peel present. Reinecker is absent. Under old business, FY surplus funds. Everyone should have a breakdown in their packet of the surplus funds and the allotments where they're going to be placed, I take it. Do we need a motion to approve? I would make a motion that we approve the FYI surplus funds allotments as presented.
Second.
A motion and second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Under new business, I'd like to make a motion to approve prior month's meeting minutes from November 18, 2024.
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, CD information again is part of your packet. The way I understand it, Joe, we have two MTF or Liz, I guess, two MTF CDs that are coming due.
Correct, on December 20th.
Okay, and the recommendation from, I guess, you and Jeff together is to go ahead and invest those for 12 months.
Correct.
Okay. And we have the rates attached. And if you do a 12-month CD, the best rate, the way I'm reading this, is Buena Vista Bank at 4.45.
Yes.
Okay. Would make a motion that we do two 12-month CDs at 500,000 apiece at Buena Vista Bank at the rate of 4.45.
Second.
Motion is second.
I do have a question.
Okay.
I know that, like the 3 month and 6 month, they're paying a little more. I'm assuming they see CD rates coming down. Is that why
Yes, they're coming down.
yeah, okay. So we would be wise to lock in at the
I think so. at the 12-month
4.45
rate.
rather than 4.65. Okay.
Okay, so we have a motion and second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, motion carries. Under your financial dashboard, again, you'll see where we're at on the year. We're at the 58% mark on the fiscal year. On the revenue side, we're actually at 77% of the budgeted amount, so we're ahead on the revenue side. And on the expenditure side, we're only at 23%. So again, we're to the good on the expenditure side also. just to highlight it for everyone, take a look. And if you see the note that's highlighted at the bottom of that report, did receive the second real estate installment of $424,576.73 to all funds, and then broke out into the general fund. Next item on the agenda, health insurance renewal. And Jill, I will probably defer to you on this one, or Liz, okay?
So our health insurance renewal is up, for January first. Aetna, who we are currently with, did not offer us a renewal. So the only renewal we have or offer is from United Healthcare, which you can see in your packet is just over $14,000 more a month than what we are currently paying. And that is due to our small group size and the medical claims that our group submits throughout the year.
I think there was one other thing that Bill Schmaltz was talking about. In fact, was he coming tonight, Liz, or is he?
But get a,
Oh, I
There he is.
think Elvis has just reached the building.
so I emailed him this morning and I had not heard from him.
We'll
so-
let him pick that up. Come on up, Bill. You couldn't have come at a better time. We just started with you. Come on up to the podium and introduce yourself and fill us in about our increase. You can state your name for the record.
Pardon?
State your name for the record.
Sure. My name is Bill Schmaltz. I'm with the Einstein Consulting Group, or ECG. And we represent the city's health insurance and have done so for quite a while, many years.
2007, is that right?
Sounds about right. So where would you like me to, Mayor, where would you like me to start?
When we had just basically started, Liz had mentioned how basically our only viable quote was from UHC. But if you want to explain some of that background, how we got from where we're at this year to our choice of next year.
So for from memory, 4 or 5 years, you've been with Aetna. Aetna this year decided not to offer health insurance for municipalities at groups your size. That left Blue Cross, United, and Blue Cross United were the only ones that gave us decent quotes. Many declines. The declines were based on the best rates that you had, and frankly, you have some serious medical issues ongoing that the insurance companies do not want to take on. Okay, so Aetna has for many years also has, in my view, have given you gifts. With the claims that you had and the risk that you had ongoing, we thought, and the insurance committee, we many times would just shake our heads wondering how we getting away with the numbers that we are getting away with. Based on, and Bill, you had been there a few times and you'd seen some of those rates. So that in conjunction with some pretty good decision making over the years with the insurance committee have kept your rates very, very stable. In fact, and looking at numbers, we were at the last meeting a few weeks ago. Your budget has been about the same for, gosh, in fact, in fiscal year 2018, you were at 45,000 a month. And it went down in 22 to 40,000 a month, 23, 41, 24, 41, and then it dropped in 25 to 40,000. So that in conjunction with, is it okay if I mention the surplus? Or is that where you're at, the surplus, or is that not?
You mean as far as the
health
HSA
insurance,
account?
because you budgeted because we're in something called an HRA. Is everybody familiar with the HRA, or what? Do you want me to get into any of that or refresh?
You could
So-
do just a thimbleful on there, so we
so
understand.
What the HRA does, it's a health reimbursement arrangement. So you buy health insurance at a higher level. You buy it at 6,000 or 7,000, but below the 6,000 or 7,000, the employees enjoy a $250 deductible. So anywhere between a $250 deductible and wherever where you're buying insurance, 6,000 or 7,000, we do a reimbursement plans and we pay the vendors, providers directly. The difference between that, where someone hits their 250 up to that 7,000. Once the 7,000's met, then the insurance company takes back over. Okay. So with that, you've budgeted this 40,000, let's say in 22, 41, 20 and so forth. The result of that is we've had some decent years on the reimbursements, and you're at about $250,000 now and what you've avoided paying the insurance companies. As a reference, Blue Cross has the plan that's closest to your plan that we run right now, the HRA, the $250 deductible. And the Blue Cross $250 deductible, if you had that plan and not an HRA, you would pay $77,000 a month. So the difference between that and $42,000 a month, you can see it's quite a big difference. And that's why you have the HRA. Some of the employees don't quite like it sometimes because there could be times where the employee goes and maybe has some large expense and the provider asks them to pay up front. And if they call us, we, discuss with the provider, but that sort of friction that happens between when someone hands a card and the provider asking for some money up front can cause some friction to the person that is trying to get that procedure. But overall, the plan is run well. Unfortunately, it's going from, see, currently you're just right under 30 and it's going to 42,415 a month. And that's with a lot of negotiating. And if you break that down per belly button, you have about you have right around 29 employees on the plan, about 80 to 84 belly buttons. That runs per belly button about $505. So that's where we're at. Any thoughts or questions?
Bill, if you could talk a little bit about that group size when you met with us about the 50 or 51 under over, we kind of jumped a hurdle there this last year and what caused that?
So for many years, see, if you're under 50, not 50 employees, that could be part-time, full-time, right? Anything over 50 employees, you get an underwritten plan. The underwritten plans to the most part are the most affordable because when you compare that to the ACA plans, or sometimes it's known as Obamacare plans, those plans, although they're a fixed cost, all they do on the underwriting there is they look at the age of each individual, they look at your zip code, and they come up with a rate. Those rates are extremely expensive compared to where you're at right now. So every year we fight that battle because you only have right around 30 employees. They want an additional 20 to prove that you're over 50, and it's a struggle every year to get to that amount. So this year Mayor, we still were able to show 50, the 50 employees, but as soon as you teeter downward below that 50, you're subject to the ACA rates, which would be even more than where you're at right now. Does that answer the question?
I think a little bit more so, yeah.
Do they physically come and take account on employees, or how do we account for the employees?
We provide a census and just a document where we provide. It could be part-time. It could be also seasonal employees. So we pull as many, they don't challenge us. They don't get into the details. So anybody that you paid throughout the year, we put them on there as one of the, one of the numbers.
And when is the due date or the renewal on this?
January 1st. We've looked at there's absolutely nothing else out there. We've looked at something called level funded plans. You're not at a point now for anything self-insured. You're getting close. So we've looked at we've turned over every rock. This is all that's there. It's the best of what's out there.
So Aetna dropped all government municipalities, or is it a Redbud thing?
It's just municipalities. Did you get the, I think Liz, did you get the letter?
Yeah, and I had it in my Friday update a couple weeks ago.
So for a while, we didn't know why. They just weren't offering, and we were challenging our rep. We just didn't understand why they weren't making a renewal offer. And then late in the game, they sent us a letter where any groups, in this market, no municipalities, will no longer be accepted for, for offers.
What about coverage on this, like for the employees? Can you kind of just go over a little bit what would change for the employees a little bit?
So nothing changes because you're in an HRA.
Okay,
Since we buy insurance, in this case, it'll be at 6,250. Everything below that, the city can decide and determine what they want to offer for the benefit. So ever since I've been working with you, you've had a $250 deductible. That won't change.
okay,
The only thing that have changed over the years, the office visit for many years was $10. It went from 10 to 25 a few years ago, and the specialist is also $10. That went to 50. The emergency room copay is $150. Generic drugs are $10 unless you can get them lower than the 10, then you just get them at that price. Brand is 50, non-preferred brand is 75, and then specialty drugs can be up to $400.
And then Alan, as far as the network, it's at UHC Choice Plus, and that's a pretty broad network. Doctors should be covered in the local area.
In
That's
network.
easily accessed, probably online is the safest place to do that rather than a printed material.
They're skinnier networks and be less cost, but be it the pain points for the employees would be have a lot fewer docs and hospitals to choose from. So this is the best network.
yeah. Okay.
Bill, I know this is kind of a very broad question, but what do you see happening in the future?
For your group. Well, the good and the bad news, because you've gone up so much, now you are closer to getting into what I like to call the custom plans. And that's where we have more control over cost. Right now, the cost control, it's in groups typically under 50. You don't have a lot of things you can do other than, I call it the auction, who want, which, United Healthcare, what will you give us for price? And Blue Cross, where you give us for price. In a custom plan, we can take control over even the pharmacy costs, because pharmacy costs, everybody's heard of Humira. You've heard that it's a $7,000 a month drug. I don't know if you knew it was that much. We can get Humira through the same pharmacy system, but we know where to get it at a lower price, and we can get it at $700. So in your plan where there might be a Humira and the cost in this traditional plan would be that the insurance companies would say, look, it costs $7,000. That's why your costs are going up. In these custom plans, we can go out and get the pharmacy at a much lower price for the employees. In fact, the employees get the pharmacy most of the time at zero copay in these custom plans, because we go out to different sources to get the scripts at a much lower cost. Same with medical. We know where to get labs at a lower cost. So if your employees go there, they don't pay anything. Specialists, knee surgeries, I can go on and on. There's a host of things you can do when you have a custom plan. You take control of the benefits, and you can then do like with any other thing you do in life where you're looking for lower prices. We can set up those lower prices in the health plan, and the reward to the employees, if they use those resources, nothing out of pocket. The reward or the benefit to the city is you're paying half or a third of the cost of what those procedures or pharmacy costs would be. So that we will be able to do, but because you were getting it at such a low price before, we did not understand how you could pay $28,000 for the utilization you had. It did not make sense. Now, when you're starting to inch up, now we can get more into the aggressive positions of addressing costs. So that's the future.
And then Bill, if you could comment how our plan looks versus many other plans that you manage.
Yeah, a $250 deductible without any co-insurance. We think we have now over 40 plans and we're growing. And the $250 deductible is without any other co-insurance, without any other than co-pays is the best plan that we have. And we have probably now 15 municipalities, county governments. You have the best plan out there that we manage.
Okay, thank you. So we're offering a very fair benefit.
So it's been, I mean, kudos to the insurance committee. You know, we don't just sit in there and look at costs. We look at utilization, because in an HRA, we know what's being spent, where it's being spent. So there's some things we can do along in the decision making and offer some ideas, and the insurance committee then, you know, adapt some of those ideas. So it's a proactive cost management team, and it's worked over the years. Such as, I'll give you one quick example. You buy something called Teladoc, and this year, because you avoided going to the ER and urgent care, it looks like you've saved in the last 12 months $14,728. So it's things like that we're being, you know, proactive in the committee, coming up with resources that both help, and the employee benefits because they pay nothing out of pocket. So zero out of pocket for the Teladoc, and the city then avoids the higher cost urgent care and ER by the employees using the Teladoc option. Just one of the examples.
Anything, Rodney's actually chairing this committee, so I've kind of been jumping in here, but
No, I mean, doesn't look like we got much choice. Would make a motion, I guess, to make the switch to the United Healthcare as proposed at $42,415.68, and that is per month, correct?
for the current census, right? So that could
Yeah.
change month to month.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, motion carries, and I think we've got it on the agenda.
Yes, that'll be on our city council agenda coming up, so we can email you tomorrow. I imagine
Okay.
you want to get out of here.
Oh, no, sorry, I was a few minutes later.
You came in right on cue.
Okay. Well, thank you. It's a privilege representing the city. I just want to say thanks for that, and look forward to working real hard next year to see what we can do about cutting the cost. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next item on the agenda, Culligan Water Commercial Agreement. I'm assuming that's for the water here at City Hall.
So following suits, our contract has expired as of December. The representative came and basically said that we had a $45 a month plan. Everything was going up to $75 a month. Our plan was so low because we were on a 5-year contract. So that's what kind of helped with the increase. He said he was going to give us a discount of $60 per month should we continue with those services.
So it'll be $60 a month then for the drinking water. Is that what we're saying?
For the next 5 years.
Okay. Anybody want to make a motion on this?
I'll make a motion. We approve the Culligan agreement
That's $60 a month.
at $60.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay. Next item on the agenda, Christian Ron loan update.
Kristen is live and unmuted, so.
Hi. So, and I'm not sure, Jill, because I sent you that information so late, do they have any of that?
No,
Okay. Okay, so I did send Jill an email today. I was waiting, I had Doug go ahead and appraise the two properties. And maybe I'll pause. Can you guys hear me okay?
yes, they can hear you.
Okay, great. Okay, I just wanted to make sure because I didn't know the background. But I went ahead and had Doug Socklaben appraise the two homes that I own there in Redbud to cross collateralize or looking at that because we discussed that a little bit last time. He just got them to me. That's why the email was a little bit late. He was trying to get them in today for the meeting this evening. And I did originally go back, by the way, to the appraiser. They had given me the indication that if I simply, put some paint and put the flooring back in the Susie's part, they would be able to appraise it for quite a bit higher. So I asked them to complete that because I thought that that would be an easy way to get the numbers where we were wanting them. I gave them another week to get that done and, they basically just said, we just don't want to do it. We don't, we're not comfortable like finishing the appraisal. To be perfectly honest, I don't even understand why. It kind of blows my mind, but that's why I went ahead and had Doug appraise the other two properties. So I sent Jill an email that, she's welcome to share with you all after, including those appraisals. To be perfectly honest, I literally got them while I was driving. So I put this together and sent it in the car. So I haven't reviewed the appraisals. I do know what the values were. So what I did is just some very basic math. Okay. I took the 294 for the building appraisal for the restaurant, Susie's, the buildings there. The one property came in at 135,000. The other one came in at 150,000. If you total the three of those property values, you're at 579. If you I got two small loans on both of the homes that I own. So I attached documentation showing what those balances are. Those balances total just over 134,000, 134, 117. That would in theory get us to a $444,883. From there, we're still about 105,000 off from the total of 550, which is pretty much about where I think I left it last time. That's about where I thought it would be based on cross collateralizing those two homes. However, this afternoon I was like just running through things again. And there's one thing we've never touched on. And so I went ahead and included it. When I purchased the building, I of course separately purchased all of the restaurant equipment as well. Just did that as a separate purchase agreement. But I did have Peggy Beidel, my aunt, she did help me before that. We had to write up an itemized list and assess used values to all the equipment and everything that was there. And I pulled that out today and I did attach it in the email with Jill as well. Because that totaled 95,290. So we did use it, like I said, Ron Arbeiter used it when we did the transaction with him. But that would get us really close to the 550 if you guys are able to take that. I mean, not like I'm taking any of that stuff out of there. The only other options I can think of is if we securitize something else that I have here in Arizona, possibly. But I mean, I'm really like paying so much for all these various appraisals too. So, I don't know if that's something y'all can consider. If you want to look at the appraisals, the documentation. I also didn't know, like, do we have the opportunity to have like a little just round table meeting, all of us outside of the council meetings? Maybe that would help. Not sure. Anybody want to chime in?
Kristen, it's Susan. I'm going to jump in here for Rodney because there's a lot of moving parts on this. I think right now, given the time frame and the documents, we all need to take a look at those. This is a slightly different path than what went through the Economic Development Commission, what was approved by the council. We need to simply look at all these documents and see where we're at, and really also lean on those bankers that serve as the Finance Committee with the Economic Development Commission, and just take a look at these things. So we really, at this point, simply need some time to review the documents.
Yep. Understood. And I did talk to Stuart today. I didn't have the appraisals back, before Stuart was gone for the day. So, I will actually forward all of it to him as well. And then just maybe see if you, and I noticed Mike's not there tonight, right? So,
Correct. Mike is not here this evening.
so maybe, you guys can maybe set up another call with me and just give me some feedback after you've had a chance to review things, and we figure out how to go from there.
We sure can. We'll
Okay.
do that. We'll be happy to do that, Kristen.
All right.
You have a good evening unless anyone has any other
Yeah,
questions.
Christian, so you're saying that your appraisal that originally was set up to do the final appraisal on it is not going to proceed with that, is that correct?
Yep, they do not want to complete an as-is appraisal. They're just like, there's really no comps available, nothing to compare it to, sold. Like I told you guys originally, they told me just, put some lipstick on it and sell the thing. And I was like, I'm not gonna do that. And they said, at that point you'd be give or take 500 to 550. So I said, well, then just finish it for that 550 or even 450 or whatever, and like I said, it took them another week before they responded. And honestly, I think they're probably really busy. And it's not an easy appraisal to finish up. But yeah, and I mean, not been, between us. 'cause
Well,
Doug
I'm
probably said
familiar
too.
with appraisals, and a lot of times they'll use different approaches. I mean, there's cost approach, there's different things that they can do to come up with the appraisal. Did they tell you what kind of approach they were going to try and use on it?
So no, those were some of the things I did share with Mike. I asked them to do a cost approach, like we talked about a little bit for building costs. I asked them to do a rent schedule for it as well, because it's another way they could have done it. But they are really stuck on, they basically said, no matter how we do it, there aren't comparables to put in the appraisal report. And I mean, I've been doing this, for probably about 4 months since August, the beginning of August, I think we retained them. And I mean, and honestly, I just got back to Phoenix and I got an invoice from them. So I think they're not comfortable completing it. I did talk to Cole, a little bit too, because Cole's like, well, he's like, I can get you an appraisal. He's like, there's no reason we shouldn't be able to get one. But again, now we're another month or two, another $3,000 in appraisal fees to do that. That's why I kind of moved forward with cross collateralizing the other two homes, because I knew I could get those reports really quickly. It cost me $800, you know what I'm saying? And at least we could securitize those is kind of what I was looking at. It's much easier. I don't want to spend a couple months and then have another commercial appraiser say the same thing either, right? Or struggle to get there.
Right. Yeah, that was going to be my question. If the bankers involved, Stuart and or Cole, were aware of your situation with the appraisal, because I'm sure that's going to be part of their package too, would it not?
Yep, they both understand both, and I mean, I'd ask you to lean on them a little bit about like just my personal financials and whatnot as well. Like, I don't mind if they share it with the council. I don't really want it published in the paper, right? But I don't mind if they share more about just my general wherewithal. It probably would have been a lot easier to take one property here in Phoenix and, securitize it. But, I talked to Stuart and he's like, sure, we could do that too. But he felt like, just being there local, it's a lot easier. There's additional rules once you go out of state. But I mean, that's really why I kind of moved the direction I did, is I kind of beat it to death. Like I I've been in real estate for almost 40 years. And I mean, I try to give them every approach. I called the county to reassess how much of the building has been, revamped and take that into consideration. And they were giving me actually less than, I think I had mentioned to you before, they were giving me less than $20 a square foot to do the whole building. And I was like, I think we can agree that's not a realistic number. And don't get me wrong, I know I'm gonna have to put some of my own funds into this whole project. That's fine. But I didn't feel like it was a fair valuation either.
Okay, well, thank you for your time, and I guess we'll have to see if we decide to move on with discussions.
Okay.
Thank you.
If there's anything you guys need from me, just let me know. And otherwise, I hope you all have a Merry Christmas. If I don't hear see y'all till then.
You too.
Thank you,
Right.
Chris.
No action. Yeah. I mean, I'll just be honest with you, without getting some kind of an appraisal on it, I don't think you can move forward. It's gonna be hard. I don't think the local banks will do it either.
We'll see what documents she's provided us here last minute.
Well, can you guys still hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
So there is the original appraisal. So that's what we were basing basically the 300 on, is the as-is appraisal. So that one is complete. You
Okay.
just don't have it as improved. Does that make sense? Or as completed appraisal. So yeah, take a look, and you guys, any of you are welcome to call me anytime separately as well.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right, you're welcome.
Next item on the agenda, any public comments or anything for the good of the city? If not, time is adjourned, finance at 6:35.
Okay, thank you. Personnel Committee is up next.
All right, I call Personnel Committee to order at 6:35. Myself, Peel, Dojan, Geber here, Reineker's absent. We have no old business. Under new business, make the motion to approve the prior month's meeting minutes from November 18th, 2024.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. Any public comments, anything for the good of the city? Hearing none, I will close the personnel at 6:36.
Okay, thank you. Next up is Public Health and Safety.
Thank you. I'll call the Public Health and Safety to order at 6:36. Excuse me. Myself, Gebert, Nevoy, Dojan, are present. Reineker's absent. We have no old business. Under new business, I'll make a motion to approve the November 18th, 2024 minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Departmental activity report. You've all got a copy of it in front of you. Anybody got any questions for John? Hearing none, we'll move on. Next item is a training request for John Brittingham. Southern Illinois, 2025 Southern Illinois Criminal Justice Summit in Effingham. February 25th to 27th. Registration $85, company vehicle, gas, meals, lodging, total training expense not to exceed $580. Make a motion, we send John to this training.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Public comments, anything for the good of the city? Hearing none, I'll adjourn at 6:37.
Okay, next up is Cultural Committee.
I'll call the cultural committee to order at 6:37. Myself, Damon, Gebert, and Dojan are here. Reineker is absent. Have no old business. I'd like to make a motion to approve the prior month's meeting minutes from November 18th, 2024.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Any public comments, anything for the good of the city? Hearing none, I will close cultural committee at 6:38.
Okay, thank you. And next we move to Public Works.
I'll call the Public Works at 6:38 with myself, Dojan, Hannibut, and Forest Golf all
present. Veronica is absent. Under old business, power plant report.
Yeah, we've been doing our generating runs per our schedule, and we also did have a winter readiness testing. That IMEA had called out, and all the units throughout IMEA did a winter readiness testing on Thursday, December 5th, and that all went well.
Okay, utility streets.
Nothing under the electric or gas, under the water. I just kind of wanted to bring up something I think I'd mentioned in previous emails that I had sent out. That I'd met with some companies regarding the water towers and recoding and some different things. So I had two different companies actually come in and do inspections on both towers. They provided me their inspection reports, and they're actually looking at, and what I'd like to kind of talk to you about, it would be an asset management program. And so it's kind of what it's basically almost like an insurance policy for your towers, where. And I know Smithton just entered into one of these with one of these companies that did our inspection as well. And what it is basically it's like a monthly fee that, and you can spread the cost out. So you basically would pay a monthly fee for each tower. And I don't have exact numbers. I do have examples. Let's just say, this tower is 30,000, this one's 25,000. That'd be the annual fee. Then you break it down what a per monthly cost. Also, whenever you have a recoding project or inspections, or you have to do a washout, there's no additional fees for those because of what you're paying. Now, granted, we have to kick this off. We have to redo this first tower and say it costs $600,000. We don't have to pay $600 in the first year. We pay $200 for 3 years. We get to spread that cost over a 3-year period. We also can lock in pricing for the other tower. And say we would coat this tower, we would do a program of this nature. You would actually pay $200,000 for the first 3 years or whatever it is, and then you start your annual fee for that tower. Say in 12 years, they say that needs to be recoated again. In year 12, our fee may be $42,000, but a recoat costs $250,000. We only pay $42,000 because we've been paying this maintenance fee. So it's kind of a savings thing to where you're paying for this over the course of the time. Any inspections are covered. If something fails, coatings fail, they have to come in. They take care of it as part of that asset management program. That's no additional cost to us. So it's kind of just some ideas that have been kicking around, and both of them kind of offered that program up that, and it helps that they ensure that we're getting our inspections done. They ensure that we're getting our washouts done. And then we're not on the hook as a city that, okay, we have to come up with $600,000 again to repaint the tower. So just a concept, don't really need anything tonight. Wanted to just kind of throw that out to you guys. If you'd like to see the reports, I can get them out to you. They are trying to get some other pricing back together for me, more formalized pricing on what we would be looking at, if this is something you guys would want to entertain. And I can bring that back for you.
So is this strictly the inside, and it would not include any outside painting?
No, it is. It is the exterior, interior.
Okay.
So, the only thing, like one of them was, that's like, there is some exclusions. So say we have to do a full containment where you have to sandblast it. That full containment, that's $100,000. That's not covered. So that may be an additional cost. But if they can just recoat it, pressure wash it, recoat it, whatever that fee is, even if it costs $175,000, whatever our monthly fee is our annual fee is, that's what we pay. Because we pay for it over the course of time. And that's an exterior, that could be an interior, both the wet and the dry. So they would go into the bowl itself and, check and make sure that that the ladder needs replaced, or if there's cross members across there that need to be fixed, or weld marks, or anything like that. Repairs are taken care of through this program.
What kind of a term are you looking at on that, Josh?
It's as long as they plan it out for 10, 20, 30 years. They can never cancel. It's on us to determine whenever we would want to say, okay, we don't want to do this anymore.
So it's not a 10-year agreement on.
It's literally, they just set up pricing and say, this is going to be your pricing going out. And, we can get our towers done, spread the cost over a couple of years when we're doing the towers. And then they can never cancel on us. It's on the city to say, okay, now we don't want to do this anymore. So
guess some, you said you're.
They've been working on formalized pricing, and so
Okay.
it's an ongoing endeavor on
So something
on
we
our
can-
half. So
It's gonna take a little while to go over all this.
it's gonna get a little bit, but like I said, we're at that point where we need to do something with the towers. But like I said, this is the type of program where we don't have to come up with all that money up front. We can spread that cost out.
So we can look at it as an overall picture to see
Correct.
what, if it would be feasible or not, or whatever.
Yes.
So, okay.
Does that come with like a inspection, like a monthly, bi-monthly? inspections that they would do?
Every other year, they would do inspections.
Yeah.
So you do an inspection every other year, and that's part of those fees. Doing the washouts of your interior bowl where your water is stored, that's part of those fees. If there's repairs that need to be made, they come in and do an inspection and see that there's a rust spot here, or there's this problem there, then fees cover that cost. There is no cost to us.
So are they gonna look and see what's essentially messed up and?
I've got the
Replace
inspections
everything.
already. So I've got the inspection reports already from them doing that. So then their fees are gonna be based on this first go round, fixing issues or problems that there may be.
So how many issues do we have already?
There's nothing, they're structurally sound. It's normal stuff that goes along with the tower. So it's not like we're failing in any way. So.
Okay.
It's just normal stuff that when you have something that's wet all the time or stuff like that, you're gonna have areas that a weld fails or something that you just gotta get repairs done.
So if we're paying fees that total up to $600,000, but something comes up that is another $500,000 on top of the money we paid, do they figure that into the fees, and then we start paying extra?
No,
Or vice versa, that if we're paying $600,000, but we only need 200,000 of that, what happens to the other 400?
well, I'm saying the 600, let's just say that we're gonna go out there and we're gonna bid and do that project right now. That's gonna cost $600,000 to do the project, wet, dry, do everything. Instead of us paying 600 now to get that tower ready to go, we would pay 200 over 3. But if we do it the alternative where we would pay $600,000, okay, we have them come in, we do the work, they leave. It's on us then to make sure we still do the inspections. It's on us to make sure we still do all the other stuff. And when it comes time to recoat and repaint, that's a cost on us again.
So wouldn't it still be a cost on us again, because we're only paying the initial
But
$600,000?
I'm saying if we don't do the program. If we don't do the program and something fails on a coating and we're not in a program like this, it's on the city to then take care of that cost to fix the repairs.
I guess maybe I'm dumb. I guess I'm not understanding, because if we bid it out and it's $600,000, and that's for over 3 years, but in year 5, there's $150,000 whatever that comes up, aren't we still gonna have to pay that?
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's the 600,000 is, if you bid something out, it's like doing a street project. You're gonna bid it out, you're gonna do the work, the contractor's gonna go away, and it's ours. With this asset management program, they take ownership of that tower and basically they make sure everything gets done. It's an insurance policy, long-term insurance policy.
Yeah, but Josh, if you bid something out and you hire a contractor, say we're coating it. And you hire a subcontractor to come in and coat it. And that coating fails, he's got to stand behind his word.
It's based on whatever warranty that there would be on that, yes, but I'm just saying if there's other stuff along the way. That
So,
in addition, a cost in addition, if something else fails, that's not part of what they did. Then all of a sudden something fails, we're on that cost. But if they find something in an inspection, if you're in this program, the program costs are already covering it.
so to do water tower A for 600,000 over 3 years at 200,000 a year, we're potentially just paying $600,000 for the project, and everything in between is just fully covered by insurance. In theory. So,
And
okay.
the thing is like I said, I'm trying to just show you the idea. We can figure out, and I can come back with recommendation of a company if we want to look at that. And then at that point, I can have them come in and actually speak more candidly on this, because they do this. This is
Sure.
what they do.
Okay.
So
and it sounds like a terrific program.
Yeah.
it's kind of similar,
That's what-
and I'll put it this way, the maintenance program we just did with Coney for the elevator. You know, we pay a monthly fee for them to make sure it's along that line, but just on a larger scale because of the water towers.
Okay. So basically, It's
And-
right now just information. Maybe
Information,
bringing
and-
back with more stuff. as
And
time
so,
goes
and
on.
like, and if you do something like this, you can lock in pricing and say, okay, we're gonna do this tower in year 1. We're gonna do that tower in year 4, but you can start locking in the pricing for that. So knowing in year 4, that fee, the costs are gonna be spread out over 3 years. So instead of waiting and seeing how high the prices
How
go.
long, how many years do we normally go between coatings,
Depends.
inside, outside? And I understand things change, but I mean, what has been
You can
the
do
average?
you can do recoats. They say the coatings last 25 years. They also say tires last 60,000 miles. And they say roofs last 35 years. Do they? Who knows?
Oh, okay.
But
But that's,
you know, that's
point
what
is,
they
though,
say
is when's the last time we've had anything done on 20 years? Okay. I mean, that was my, just trying to get an idea when, how often, you talk about 5,
And
6
that's-
years, but
And
it's
that's what they
really
say. If they
more.
come in and say
out
it's
here
time to do a recoat, and you're in this program, and they say, hey, it'd be a good time to do a recoat on this tower.
Got it.
That's part of our fee. And just because the recoat costs 180,000,
So we're
but our
spending,
annual fee is only 30, we only pay the 30.
okay. I'm just trying to get
Right.
some information or timelines of what
Mhm.
we are.
Yeah.
here.
I can get, I
On
have some
these things,
spreadsheets that they provided me that kind of lays out Tower A, Tower B, and so on and so forth. It's not specific numbers. Obviously, I don't want to throw specific numbers out on an open
Sure.
meeting because I don't
Okay.
have them yet. It's just kind of ballpark, give you an idea is what we're looking at.
Okay, move on to sewer and streets. I think-
Sewer, just the upcoming blower maintenance, that kind of goes back with the water side, the upcoming high service pump. They're trying to coordinate to do that work together when Banaventer comes in. They're gathering the materials for that. Under streets, we just have the MFT resolution that's gonna be considered under new business.
Okay, we'll go to electric some rate studies.
There's no update for the utility financial solutions. We're still working through the data entry and stuff on that. And then we have the water and sewer, the Illinois rate study, the recommendations that I had provided. It's in the packet. I also provided in my email last week. That was the rate study that Clark Cameron with Illinois Rural Water had put together. And their recommendations. Kind of generalized his findings. They what they have going on. They recommend obviously adding $2 to the base rate for the water side and the consumption rate to $8 per 1,000 gallons used. I provided 2 potential options to facilitate their recommendations, the full increase in year 1 or a split increase over 2 years, which honestly, that's what I would lean towards. That you're not hitting the customers with something as much in 1 year. They also on the sewer side recommended adding 50 cents per 1,000 gallons used just to the consumption rate. So the user rate for the first 2,000 gallons would remain unchanged.
Josh, what do they base this on? Are they looking at our account balances?
Yeah, I give them all the data, the account balances,
And-
what expenditures, annual expenditures, what we went through. I provided our capital plan. What our capital plan is with the towers and all these things looking forward, so they can kind of figure that in to try and build up that money to have the money in the capital plan to cover those things. So that's where they kind of come up with that.
I guess my next question would be, have our account balances been decreasing on an
Yeah,
annual
well,
basis?
those have been. Sewer's been holding fairly well now since the loan's been paid off. Water, we've obviously, as you've been well aware with all the stuff we've had coming up as the aging infrastructure, aging equipment. Costs have kind of gone up, plus cost in general for everything have gone up, chemical supply costs. Maintenance fees and everything else to run it also.
I guess my point is, we're not raising rates just to be raising them.
No, it's to help cover our costs, because right now we're at a deficit. If you look at the numbers, we're losing in a deficit, so now we're taking money out of the capital plan to cover costs.
So
It's a cost covering.
have we, over a 5-year period, been seeing less and less money every year in those funds?
It's going down. It has been. They've been staying pretty flat, but here lately, the water fund has been taking a little bit of a hit, more of a hit.
I mean, my whole point is, I don't want to raise rates just to be raising rates and putting.
I don't either.
those accounts.
I don't
Yeah.
either. But like I said, it's to help make sure we're having our costs covered and we
Okay.
stay out of the red. So
You know when our last rate increase?
5 years ago, I did this, Illinois Rural Water did one in 2019.
So is this something that we would go into effect right away here if we voted or something?
If you would, if this would be approved, it'd be, obviously have to be, ordinance written to change the information there. There's probably that waiting period. It'd probably be mid-January before it go into effect. It probably wouldn't go into effect. I would say you can make it whatever date effective.
Right.
Whatever date we want to make it. So you could make it effective of the February bill, February 1, or whatever you want to make it effective. So it's kind of that, we have that option of when we want to set the rate
Sure.
timing.
It's not that it has to happen first of the year. It could happen anytime, whenever we want to.
I'm just saying,
Make
we
it-
ought to look at doing that. So like I said, the recommendations would be increasing the water base rate as presented, but I would go with, my recommendation would be go over a 2-year period in doing that, split that increase up.
If we do it over a 2-year period, and average water bill, have you figured that? What?
Yeah, I provided that,
Is it on here somewhere?
I provided that in that packet for different varying amounts. So a customer currently using, let's just say, residential customer currently using 3,000 gallons a month pays $19.20. If you were to do this all in 1 year, you're looking at a $32 bill a month. So you'd be looking at what, $13? $13 roughly a month. If you would go 2 years, you'd go 19.20 up to 25.60. So you only see about a 6, and then about another 6.5 the second year.
On a ballpark, an average household consumes how many gallons?
Residential, probably between 3 and 5, I would say. I provided the other ones because of the commercial side. And just one item also to note is when they do these rates and they base these rates on for your user rates, for your customer charges, and then your usage rates, they take into consideration somebody that uses the minimum, right? So you don't, or uses very little water. You don't want to have a very super high consumption rate if you don't have to. You don't have a high customer charge, because then their bill goes up astronomically. You set your usage rate up to where your higher usage customers paying their fair share, paying more of the cost, they are using more of the water.
And I will say, I took Josh's numbers, ran my utility bill through, and it's tracking exactly with what he's presenting here, so.
And like, and for instance, Kyle, you asked, you'd be looking, if you did a 100% increase for the water just in year 1, that's like a 67% increase. If you do it over 2 years, it's a 33% and then a 25%. So you're not even actually doing a full, your percentages aren't as bad over that time period. Another option they did throw out there was that, they always recommend the councils consider, like a standard annual increase to the rates, because it's a lot easier for customers to swallow 2-3% than hitting them with, you've seen, you've probably all seen what Ameren does with their electric rates every year. They throwing 60, 50, 60, 70% increases out there. So. But the only thing I would recommend at this point would be the recommendation of this for the water and sewer. The other recommendation of the 3%, I would say that's a consideration to be considered. Let's see what happens with the electric rate study to see what they come back with, because they may have some other ideas on some of that as well. But it's just something in our back pocket we could think about. I do believe there's been some communities that do that, but there also is times if you have that in your ordinance, you can also set it up to where the council can say, hey, the funds look good. We're not going to do that this year.
Yeah, we could set up some automatic increases up to an X%. And then if we feel we don't need it, we stop it.
Or you can just say, we're not going to do that increase this year.
Because
So
this is
there's options available when you look at something like that.
the problem. When this sets and gets old, then we have to knee jerk and fix
Right.
it every once in a while. If it
But like I
would be
said, it's
incremental.
nice now that we're doing this every 5. So we did it in 19. I did it again in 24. Kind of see where we're at, seeing how things fall. So we're seeing a good base on where we're at because it's been every 5 years now. It's not like we haven't done anything in 20 years.
So
Josh, do you have a number that if we approve these rates, how much, based on our usage now, how much extra money is going to be put in those funds each year, annually?
if you were to, annual gain or shortfall would be $197,000 on the water rates. Right now, our annual loss is about, says, based on their figures, is 218, so that's a little off just because of some of the way that they figure, but it said we'd actually gain about 197 on the water. On sewer, we would gain 21,000 annually. Instead of a shortfall of like 28 based on the figures they're looking at.
And then, I mean, and you may not even know this, but where would we compare to if we had Illinois American? I mean, I'm assuming
Significantly
that we're-
lower.
I mean, I'm assuming, we don't have Ameren, we don't have Illinois American. We're still looking pretty good compared to.
I'll be honest,
municipalities.
we've met with Illinois American because per an EPA inspection, I had to investigate looking into emergency interconnect. I won't say the number because I don't want you guys to fall out of your chairs. It is very high, but their rates based on what it would be, I would say your standard customer that would probably pay $18, $19 a month right now, not knowing exactly what the rates are, from their words, would probably be $45 to $50 a month. With this increase, we would still be less than that.
Okay, do we act on this now or is it something we
Well,
want to
if we, if
discuss?
you
or-
want to, I mean, that's up to you guys. I would make a recommendation to do the water over potentially over a 2-year period. I could work with Rebecca then on the ordinance. See how we did it back in 19 and kind of make sure we word that correctly. It could come back to council in January for.
So basically, no, there's no approval tonight. It's just more or
Well, I
less.
mean, it would have to prove to be able to go to the council meeting if you guys so choose. But I would make a recommendation. We do the increases per the recommendations. And then
Over
I
a
would work
2-year
with,
period.
for the water over 2-year, water would be or the sewer would be the first year.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion that we propose the new rates for the water over 2 years and the sewer the first year.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Succession plan.
We did complete, I did do the internal advertising for the succession planning for the electric apprentice 1 position. I did get 1 interest sheet. I met with that candidate today. Since I was out Thursday and Friday, that ended last Thursday and Friday. So putting together the formal recommendations, I will have a formal recommendation for you at the January council meeting
Okay.
to move forward on that position.
Okay, next item is the Retz Park Power Pole accident.
Yes, as we had discussed last, I guess it would be at the council meeting earlier this month, I believe. It was brought up about, the settlement for the vehicle accident that hit the pole at Rats Park. Total bill was just under $40,000. Based on their insurance, it was a $25,000 limit that they had. They had offered up that settlement to us. I tried to get some further clarification. I did get that clarification. I believe I sent that out on the email for you guys to look at. I also had Rebecca review that, and she said based on the data that'd probably be about all we'd get out of it anyway. So I don't know if you guys have any other questions on that, but the recommendation from our insurance company would be to accept the $25,000 payout from that insured. And then, and that would be their recommendation. I know Rebecca looked at it as well.
So you need a recommendation. Prove that.
So I just still have one question
Sure.
on this
No,
because
no problem.
this is baffling to me. So basically, I should not carry any personal property or any property coverage at all because I won't have to pay it. The city will just pay it if I run into anything is what we're finding out, right? I'm
I'm not
I
an
mean,
insurance
kind of.
person.
It happens that they're both $25,000. So either way, we're not getting more than $25,000. But yeah, I mean,
if I switch mine from, I think it's 500,000, 100,000, 100,000, or whatever it is, I need to now switch it to $5,000 and then the city's just on the hook. That doesn't make sense to me that how this works. I don't.
unfortunately, a lot of things are legal that don't make sense.
No, I understand that, but that just baffles my mind that I can lower my insurance.
Like I said,
The city's on the hook for more.
And
Will our insurance cover the
no,
other
that's what I talked to our insurance company about, and they said based on our limits and what they could go back after, by the time you pay fees and do these different things, we'd only be getting about the 25,000 because if we sign the release, that's all we can get. We can't go back after them. Our insurance company can't go back after them. So if we say we're not signing the release, our insurance company is going to go after them. The most our insurance company is probably going to be able to get out of them is the $25,000.
Once you get more money and pay more legal fees, your net is back where you're starting at now. That has to be taken into consideration.
And if there's a bright side, if you want to consider it a bright side, we got a $40,000 upgrade for 15 grand. If, you know, you guys so approve that. I don't like it any more than you guys, but I've done, I've done what we could and we took it to our insurance company, and I think this is,
I don't think we have a lot of option the way I see it.
so. Unfortunately,
Fortunately, there's a lot of things that don't make sense in this world.
correct.
Okay, so I guess we make a motion to approve the recommendation from the insurance company on the power pole accident.
Second,
Can I get a second?
second.
Oh, okay. Sorry, on favor?
Nay.
Understand. Okay, new business. I make a motion that we approve prior month's meeting minutes from November 18th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. The 2025 MFT resolution number 24-003.
Yeah, this is our annual MFT resolution for our maintenance work. This doesn't include our oil and chipping. This is actually probably one of our bigger sections that we do. That also includes concrete work for sidewalks, curbing work that we had as well this year, asphalt patching, and our normal materials purchases for rock, coal mix, things of that nature. We also did include material cost for the culvert, Rock Hill Theodore. That obviously is in need of replacement. And so like a lot of that, we can pay for the materials through MFT, but any additional work contractor wise, we would pay, the city would pay. I would just build that into the budget because if you try and do that through MFT, you don't have to have IDOT approved plans and specs because it's a project and your costs go up 25-30%. So we can at least pay for the materials through MFT for that. And then with that, our resolution would be for the amount of $400,000. We just need a motion to approve.
Make any questions? Not, I make a motion, we approve the resolution 24-003 for 400,000.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Next item is training request. We have first one is for Adrian Walsh and Scott Becker to attend the 2025 Illinois Pipeline Safety Program on 114 at training expense of about 500. Is that each or?
It's less than 500 total. I mean, it's a free, so just be the time and mileage, but it's company city truck. It's just to Fairview Heights.
So I make a motion, we approve the training request for Adrian Walsh and Scott Becker.
Kurt, I got a question on this, because it shows there's no registration fee. So what are the fees involved again?
I just said, I put less than 500 because you're paying your workers to go there and the cost of, so.
Okay, the other question I have, why are these two? I thought these were the two that are locators.
This is a locating damage prevention, so it's a lot locating based training. I went up to it last year and Julie is there to go over. It's a lot of damage prevention for locators is what it's for. Geared towards, so that's why I want to get them up there for that.
And I guess while we're on the subject, when that hire was made, I thought Scott was going to be our locator.
Scott and Adrian are both
We need
locators.
two locators?
We have two because if one's gone, we
Well,
actually
yeah, but I
have,
see, I'm sorry, Josh, I'm in town every day. There is never a time that those two are in trucks separate. They're always together. Why do we have to have two people locate?
we usually have one guy helping do this, go over here, setting the machine, you're locating. They've been doing that for years. I mean, then when we can separate, we do.
Is Scott and got enough training in that he can locate on his own?
He has been locating when they're not together. He does do locates on his own as well. But everybody needs the additional training, so that's why I'm wanting to send him to this as well for additional experience, get some other stuff involved, get to meet some of the Julie folks and get more involved with that.
Well, I misunderstood when he was hired. I thought he was gonna be the locator, not that we have to have two guys locate. I can't believe we're doing that.
Any other questions, comments? If not, I'll make a motion. We do approve the pipeline safety program training request for Adrian Walsh and Scott Becker.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Next one is a training request for Derek Allen for water distribution for his class C and D, not to exceed 350. Is that right?
Yes, it's a webinar based. This is, and that would include materials. So that's where it has a registration fee plus materials, and it is a online thing. It'd be 3 different Thursdays that he can just do in the office. And this is to get him prepared to do his testing for his class C and D. This isn't a test at all. It's the training and help to get him prepared for that. And I did verify that this would be something worthwhile from Tim Albers for Derek to take on.
Okay, so I'll make a motion. We approve the training request for Derek Allen.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Next item is an underground utility line locating for Adrian Walsh and Scott Becker, which is not till April. You said this is $900 not to exceed. Is that total for?
900. Well, I put 900 because you're gonna have lodging. It's one night. It's up in Normal, plus meals. I mean, that probably would be that much, but I just put that in there plus the mileage, and I figured the labor costs associated with that. So that's where that 900 is coming from. It's the cost that we're paying them to be there as well.
Do they both drive separate?
They would ride together.
Oh, okay.
So I make a motion, we approve the underground utility line locating employee training request for Adrian Walsh and Scott Becker for April 30th. All the second,
Second.
all in favor? Motion carries. Any other public comments?
Just out of curiosity, since we are talking about training and sending people different things and we have tests and things that we have to pass. What do we normally do if somebody doesn't pass a test? Or even with the police department, if we have any kind of training or something that they go to, is that something we just send them back to? Do we know about it? Are we hiring somebody to do something, but then they can't do it? I didn't know if this has came up anywhere in our departments, but I'm just curious to know if we send somebody somewhere, are we being let know that they passed, didn't pass? I mean, obviously the water license is gonna be a big deal, come time, but
There's
I'm just
applicator
curious.
licenses. If they don't, they can retest. There's different things. We try and get them back in to do the retesting and things of that nature. So I can make sure on my side of things, if they whenever we do go to this, if there is some kind of testing involved, I can let you guys know. I mean, if you want either way, I can let you know, yes, they all passed, or you just want to know that they didn't pass and we got to retest. I can do it either. But if it has to be retested or do something else and there's gonna be an additional cost, I would have to come back to you guys for that approval to go back to it. I wouldn't just send them back.
I mean, it is being followed up on, I guess.
It would be followed back up with you guys if it come to that.
Any other comments? Not, I make a motion, we adjourn at 7:12.
Thank you, Kurt. Next up is zoning committee.
Thank you, Mayor. Call the zoning committee meeting to order at 7:12. Myself, Giebert, Schwarzkopf, Demond, and Nimoy all present. Old business, Red Bud Business Park. The approval to go out for bids. Jeff, do you have anything further on that?
We delayed the bids by 1 month to give the opportunity to a business to express interest in going out there. They have decided not to pursue that. So we are good to go with phase 1 as is.
Okay, so you're looking for approval to
Yes,
go out
with-
for bids right now.
With your approval tonight, we're not spending any money, so it doesn't need to go through council, but with your approval tonight, we'll get plans and specs out. I'm thinking after the new year. We'll get them out early January and have them ready for February council. That's my intention.
Okay. I'd like to approve, to go out for bids for the Reva Business Park.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. New business approval of prior month's meeting minutes. I'll make a motion to approve of prior month's meeting minutes.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. City Hall approval to go out for bids. I know Jeff had sent out the email about that.
What we decided to do was take the tuck pointing out because that team is way. The thought was, rather than have that included under a general contract, we do everything but that. Because of them. Kind of the time of year, like the contractors are 700 together. Like to do the same thing, go out for bids for City Hall improvement. And have it ready for any.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion to, for approval to go out for bids for the City Hall improvement.
Second.
Motion a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Any public comments, anything for the good of the city? Hearing none, I'll adjourn the zoning committee at 7:14.
Okay, thank you. And last committee this evening is recreational facilities.
Thank you, Mayor. Myself, Hannibal, Nevoy, Peel, and Demond are all present. Call to order at 7:15. Under old business, camera investigation. I believe Rodney said they're going to be out there Wednesday.
Yes, I talked to Eric Plumbing this afternoon. He was originally gonna try and do it last week. They got tied up and he had planning on being down Wednesday.
Okay. The second item is building maintenance, roof tuck pointing and walls. What are we thinking?
Josh, did you have a timeline on that or are you just gonna, we need to do it, but want to just see what the camera produces?
Right.
So probably by the next meeting, we could take action on that. It's just realizing it's out there yet. We haven't let it go.
Right. Okay. Big picture. 2025 management, no action. Under new business, I'll make the motion to approve prior month's meeting minutes from November 18th, 2024.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. There's another item in here from Hayer Plumbing, with regards to splash pads winterization. I was not exactly aware of this because I thought that was something we were gonna do.
The estimate is to make the winterization more effective. Right now, there's one water spigot in the inside mechanical room. And it was thought that we could hook our air compressor up to that and it would blow lines out from the mechanical room to the meter pit and also to the control box. And it simply won't do it. Either our compressor, I think our compressor doesn't have enough juice to it because it's trying to blow the whole system out at once. What we're gonna do is there's some valving on it. We can isolate each one of those runs. But we have to put in a new water spigot so we can hook our compressor up to it. EJ Roscoe was out there with me, he looked at it and said, it's gotta be the way to do that. And, you know, I think we need to do this. And then there's one other part of it, inside the cabinet, you have these RZT valves, they're backflow preventers. Vortex says you can leave them in there, they should be fine, should. They're $3,000 a piece.
Yeah, no.
Simply putting a union on each one of them will allow us to be able to screw the pipe or screw the backflow preventers in and out without damaging the pipe. Without the unions, we would be at plastic credits that each year we would be taking. Those things are out. It's gonna help us winterize it more properly.
Okay.
Save our splash pad.
Okay.
Is this something that has to be done by a licensed plumber? We don't have the capability to do that in-house?
Hey, Jeff, Josh, your mic is unplugged. Bottom.
Okay, so this is essentially a one-time deal. Okay. Any other discussion? I will make a motion to accept or to authorize the bid not to exceed $2,003.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Anything for the good of the order? Hearing none, I will adjourn at 7:18.
Okay, thank you. If you just pause for a little bit, we will move into the special council meeting.
Yes, now
Okay, we will call the special city council meeting to order at 7:21. And would our deputy clerk please do roll call?
we'll call Ben Schwarzkopf,
Here.
Kurt Hebert,
Here.
Mike Reinicker is absent, Bill Honabit,
Here.
Joanne Cowell, city clerk is absent. Jeremy Demond,
Here.
Rodney Nevois,
Here.
Kyle Dojan,
Here.
Alan Peel.
Here.
Okay, we'll conduct a little bit of business and get you guys out of here tonight. I will call for a motion for CD reinvestments. That would be 2 CDs at $500,000 each, invested at Buena Vista Bank for 12 months at 4.45%.
So move.
Second.
A motion by Nevoy, second by Hanabit. Any further discussion? Roll call voting with Schwarzkopf.
A.
A.
Hey. Hey.
Hey.
Motion carries. Call for a motion to approve our health insurance renewal with UHC as of 1/1/2025.
Make a motion.
Second.
Okay, motion by Dojon, second by Peel. Any further discussion on that? Roll call voting starts with Gebert.
A.
Hey. Hey.
Hey.
Hey.
A.
Motion carries. No action on the Kristen Ron loan. Next up, there are MFT invoices in your packet. I will call for a motion to approve Hanky Excavating in the amount of 6575 plus 11,512.55.
Make a motion.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Schwartzkopf, second by Peel. Any further discussion? Roll call voting starts with Hanabit.
A.
Hey,
Okay.
Hey,
Motion carries. Call for a motion to approve the insurance company recommendations from the previous auto accident and poll.
So moved.
second.
Okay, motion by Hanabit, second by Gebert. Any further discussion? Roll call voting with Demond.
A.
hey,
Nay.
Hey,
A.
Okay, to recap that vote, there were Schwarzkopf was nay, Gebert, Hanabit, Demond, Nevoy, Dojon, and Peel were yes or a. So motion carries. Next up, I'll call for an approval on the 2025 MFT resolution number 24-003 in the amount of $400,000 for 2025.
So moved.
second,
A motion by Hanabit, second by Nevoy. Any further discussion? Roll call voting that kicks off with Nevoy.
hey,
Hey.
hey,
A.
Motion carries. Call for a motion to approve the hair, plumbing, and heating proposal for the splash pad additional winterization not to exceed 2123.
So moved.
second.
A motion by Dojon, second by Gebert. Any further discussion on that? Roll call voting that starts with Dojon.
Hey.
Hey.
Hey,
A. A.
hey.
Motion carries. Public and guest comments. I just simply like to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. We will be back here on January 6th for city council meetings. Beyond that, I would call for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
second.
We have a motion by Hanabit, second by Gebert. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? We stand adjourned at 7:25. Thank you all. We got a lot of work done tonight.